Next up, it's the Minimax Pre-Final. Let's take you through the starting grid. So, after qualifying yesterday, Jens Timmunen will start from pole position. Victor Reitz will be alongside on the front row. Richard Joppen and Jo Drent round out row 2. James van der Poel and Gage Moyes row 3. Vic van Kampenhout and Tiger Holthausen. We have got one stationary, that is the 130 Vince van der Hallen, due to start on the inside of row 6. And won't be taking the start, was due to start behind Kimi May and Lucas Dorder, who complete the top 10. Liam Hauger, Duncan Hudson, Dejan Habits, Olivier Mazurkovic, Tristan Shays, Mika Vonk, Tim Stiger, Lawrence van Vlaanderen, Jesse Andringa, Liam Bestero, Jeff Verbeek, Thijs den Dekker, Aiden Arad, Jara Kiewicz-Bosch, Lina Kaif and Jack Depre. AJ Berggraf was quickest in time qualifying, but found to not conform to the technical regulation. The kart was found to be not, well, in violation of the technical regulations, and the driver was promptly excluded. Milano Shiphorst also starts from the back of the field by there being a mechanical black flag for the 114 in qualifying, and then the black flag was brandished, so the 114 was also excluded from the session. So no Vince van der Hallen. That's a real shame for the 130, the Champions Winter Trophy winner 2 weeks ago here at the circuit. So we'll have 28 runners and riders going around this 1,360 metre circuit for 10 minutes plus 2 additional laps. So drivers have been told to slow down. It's going to be down to Jens Timmunen and Victor Reitz, who will control the pace on the rolling start. Red lights are ignited on the gantry. We've got another kart brake that's just broken down off of turn number 10. So another driver will have to watch from the sidelines. That driver's gotten back up to speed. But out of the final corner, revs rise. Lights are on. Full start again. We go round for another tour of the circuit. So if we do have a second full start, the timer will continue to count down. And very likely that our race director will then decide to go with the black flag. Now, I have just seen, I think that is Vince van der Hallen at the back end of the field, actually closing into the back of it. Or might be able to retake his position. And there is Vince van der Hallen trying to get through into 11th place. We've got a kart slowing on the Europlan, and that is the 129. Tiger Holthausen, and that's on the Europlan. So that kart has had, yeah, trying to hit the starter button on for the Rotax Max Evo 2 engine on the chassis. A real shame for the 129 running on a Maranello chassis, and looks like Holthausen has got the kart going, but it isn't moving that quickly. Might just be parking the kart. Yep, Holthausen will not take part in the Minimax Pre-Final. So the red lights reignited again on the starting gantry. Everyone now starting to ready up in formation for their pre-final. 10 minutes plus an additional 2 laps. So Moonen on pole, Reitz alongside on the front row, into the tram lines. Revs rise, lights are on, lights are out, we're underway and racing. As James van der Poel darts to the middle part of the field. As oh, that's a big moment there. That's Jens Timmunen that's just been turned around and has just been hit by another kart. as the field now makes its way up towards turn number 6. So this is going to be very, very crucial how these drivers negotiate the opening couple of laps. Can get a bit frantic on a start, and especially when you can only use the runoff area at turn 2 on the opening lap. Nowhere else on the circuit. Battle for second position as the drivers make their way down into turn number 10. Through out of turn 11. So Victor Reitz leads. And I think it's Jud Drent in the 136 that now is in second position. The field makes its way across the line to complete the opening lap. Victor Reitz leads. Jud Drent, Richard Joppen, James van der Poel, Vince van der Hollen rounds out the top 5. Duncan Hudson up 7 places from what would be 13th on the grid. Move there from Vic van Kampenhout on the 177 of Duncan Hudson. That is for 6th position on the road. So once again, the drivers will start making their way down the Europalan through between turn 6 and 7. But Victor Reitz had a lead of nearly 1 second after the opening lap. And it's 3 wide coming out of turn number 8. Around at the outside of it was, I think it was the 127 of Liam Hauger. And there is drama at turn 9. 2 carts off, one of which is the 131. Dayan Habits, who's managed to actually get back out onto the circuit. The other driver involved can't pick out the number, nearly falls over whilst trying to pull the cart unassisted. That looks to be the 115, I think, or it might be the 116 of Olivier Mazurkiewicz. And that is the case. Mazurkiewicz now I think might have gotten back out onto the circuit as up at the sharp end of the field. Battles are happening. Possible change for third. There is a change for third. Richard Joppen loses out to Vince van der Hollen. And that looks to be more than likely James van der Poel in the 106 that rounds out the top 5. Victor Reitz is losing, well, has had the lead pretty much decimated. Vic van Kampenhout is in 6th in the 124. Still battling away with Duncan Hudson in the 177. Lucas Stodder not too far behind them either, along with Kimi May. Gage Moyes all the way down in 10th position, but has an opportunity over the next just under 7 minutes to close on in. Here goes a move from James van der Poel. Tries to get through on Richard Joppen. Joppen goes sideways through turn 2. Van der Poel neatly parks it on the apex and says, thank you very much. That'll do nicely. Up to 4th goes the 106. As there's Vic van Kampenhout very, very deep into the apex at turn 6 and could get the run on Joppen in the 194. And Joppen runs a little bit wide coming out of turn 7 through 8. And Van Kampenhout gets through. Hudson is there. Stodder is there. Kimi May and Gage Moyes now are also closing in. Vic van Kampenhout, normally quite rapid around this circuit, might have an opportunity to bring everyone, the quintet behind, along for the ride to close in on James van der Poel in 5th position. As it's getting very, very close indeed now between the top 3. Victor Reitz, after 4 laps, is leading the way. Jud Drent and Vince van der Hollen rounding out the top 3 positions into turn 6 on lap number 5. Van der Hollen looked to go a little bit deeper into the apex at turn 6, but there was not enough room for the 130 to make the move and get up into 2nd place. He runs a little bit wider than the 2 in front through turn 8. The trio were covered by just over 4.5 tenths of a second after the previous lap, but Vince van der Hollen looks to be very, very racy at the minute and will try to look for the move up through turn 12, up the inside on Jud Drent, and that's the 130 now up into 2nd place. Just over half of the race completed in terms of time, and Vince van der Hollen finds himself in exactly the position he wants to be in. didn't want to be a little bit further down on the grid, having had dramas trying to get off the line, or trying to get out of the dummy grid. The kart had a slight falter at the start-finish straight, managed to get back into 11th position, and now is going for the race lead into turn 7. Van der Halen through on Reutz for the race lead on lap 6. And it looked rather easy, but it's easier said than done. A little bit further back, Vic van Kampenhout has just got through on James van der Poel for 4th place. So with 4 minutes plus 2 additional laps to go, Vince van der Halen leads the way. Second, it is Victor Reutz. Third, Jur Drent. Vic van Kampenhout in 4th. 5th, James van der Poel. Lucas Torder rounds out the top 6. Duncan Hudson, Kimi May, Kees Moyes and Rickard Joppen round out the top 10. Joppen has dropped down 7 places from the inside of row number 2 at the start, with us now having 3.5 minutes to go. And there is a bit of a scramble. 4 karts making their way through out of turn number 5 and down on towards turn 6 at the Europlan. So Tiger Holdhausen and Jack Depré unable to start the race. Jent Thimoonen on lap 4 retires. So down to 26 karts we've gone. 3 minutes still to go. So there's a big gap between Rickard Joppen and AJ Berggraaf. Berggraaf, who was excluded post-qualifying last night, now is up 17 places and is about 6.3 seconds behind Joppen. But the 171 could make up significant inroads in the next 2.5 minutes plus 2 additional laps as Van der Halen leads the way. Sunshine now beaming on the majority of the circuit, apart from a little bit of a cloudier area at turn 6. But this will help the track to evolve, also help the tyres. With the colder conditions, it's not as easy, especially with the Mojo D2s that these C2s that these drivers are using. So once sunshine starts bathing the circuit, the rubber has been laid down over the course of the morning warm-up and of this racing action thus far. So 1 minute and 45 still to go. Top 3 covered by just over 5.5 tenths. Van der Halen still leads the way as send and then some on the inside of James van der Poel. That was Lucas Torder in the 117. Look at this, nearly 3 abreast, and there's 2 clashing. Kees Moyes looking up the inside of Duncan Hudson. The pair were rubbing sidewalls. Moyes up the inside, through at turn 6 onto the Europlan. They are nearly, well, they're pretty much side by side, a bit reminiscent of Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna back in 1991. Sidewalls millimetres apart. Just coming up to the final minute plus 2 laps. And the fastest lap of the race so far, AJ Berggraaf, now 12th, 1 minute .579 from the 171. That is quite a significant amount quicker, 3 tenths quicker than the time that the 171 set in qualifying before post-race. Something was found to be out of order, let's say. But this is the battle with Vic van Kampenhout, Lucas Torder, James van der Poel. Kimi May is 7th. Kees Moyes, Duncan Hudson and Rickard Joppen round out the top 10. Jeff Verbeek has also made up some pretty good ground. Started 22nd, now up into P11. So Milano Schipphorst, who started last, now up 10 places to 19th. Timer has now officially expired, so we go on to the penultimate lap. So lap 11 out of 12 underway. Van Kampenhout has an advantage over Stordeur by about the tune of 0.4 of a second, as James van der Poel was very, very close indeed to trying to maybe having an opportunity to get through on Lucas Stordeur, but now has to defend against Kimi May in the 1.50. The youngster from Germany. So our race leaders now making their way through into turn number 10 for the penultimate time here on lap 11 out of 12. Van der Poel still carrying on defending ahead of Kimi May as they come out of turn number 11. Last lap board being shown. Vince van der Hollen seeing exactly the sign that he needs, and that will help the 1.30 no end. It's just over 0.3 of a second ahead of Victor Reitz. Kimi May just swarming all over the back bumper of James van der Poel. And once again, that battle for 6th and 7th, respectively, has yet to peter out. The embers are still burning. But Victor Reitz trying to close on in on this final lap on Vince van der Hollen as they come through into turn 8. And now it's going to be the run from turn 9 down the short chute into 10 at the fast right-hand sweeper. But the checkered flag will wave this time. Vince van der Hollen in the 1.30, who started down in 11th, picks up the win after 12 laps. Ahead of Victor Reitz, it's going to be a run to the line for 4th, which is taken by Vic van Kampenhout, who finishes behind Jur Drent in the 1.36. Lucas Stordeur finishes 5th ahead of James van der Poel. Kimi May and Duncan Hudson round out the top 8 with Gage Moyes and Rickard Joppen rounding out the top 10. AJ Berggraaf in the 1.71 finishes 11th, having started 28th. Jeff Verbeek, 10 positions up to 12th. Laurens van Vlaanderen up 6 places from 19th to finish 13th. Ahead of Liam Hauger and Mika Vonk rounding out the top 15, completing the top 20. Tristan Shays, Jesse Andringa, Milano Shiphorst, Jarakiewicz Bosch and Tim Steger. We've also got, Van Vlaanderen will get a 3-second time penalty for 2 wheels outside of the tram lines. Jent Moonen actually was called in for a meatball flag due to the rear bumper being adrift. So Lina Cruijff, Dave Stendekker, Dejan Habits, Aiden Arad, Liam Bestero and Olivier Mazurkovic round out the 26 that finished, with Moonen, Holthausen and Depré out of the race.